you become what you believe. And I think it's just, we really do have to believe in ourselves. And Dawn did a beautiful talk about 3 weeks ago now in Durban. And what really resonated with me was, you know, the only person that you're really competing against at the end of the day is yourself. And, we want you all to be really proud of yourselves and to really believe in yourselves, to back yourselves, and to become the best version of yourselves. And I know that it's that word believe is such a strong word, but I really do believe that when we put everything that we have into it, into something, and we really believe it's going to happen, it actually really, really does. And I've had so many experiences around just having that belief, believing in my team, believing that we can get to the finish line. And this year, I mean, I think that's one thing that we've really had to hold on to. I mean, it's been such a hard year, and I've really believed in my team. And I'm actually having a board meeting today. And yesterday I saw that they won a huge deal. And I just believe that we actually could end up making a profit this year, which will be an absolute miracle. But I'm holding on to that belief. So I do think that even though it's such a small thing, you've got to really internalize it and really believe in yourself. So I'm actually not going to run through the 7 focus areas in this order. So Dawn, I think I'm just going to literally hand over to you, and then I'll summarize the focus areas at the end. But I know that you want to share your experience on, what you look for when you have invested in a business, and especially on the financial side. So over to you.
Thanks, Les. I think important to believe in yourself, and it's you versus you. There's a whole world out there, but it really is about competing with yourself. So today is about the business plan and putting everything that we've learned over the last few weeks into a plan. And this business plan is not just about using it to pitch to an investor or to potential customers, but this is something that you need. It's not a document that you're going to leave in your top drawer and never look at it. It's something that you live by day to day, that you pick it up and you follow it. In fact, I'm going to open my top drawer now. Here's mine here that I don't live without day in and day out, and I keep making notes and keep changing it. And so it's really something that you need. But I think for me that entrepreneurs and businesses need enough time to think, and I think that's an important thing, that we don't give ourselves enough time to actually think. We need enough time to plan, because I think we fly by the seat of our pants, and we're not giving ourselves enough time to plan, to sit and really think about what we're doing and what we are going to be doing in the future. I do, and I think sometimes I drive Les a bit mad. I hate lastminute.com meetings. I like everything to be scheduled and organized because it fits into like where I'm going and what I've planned. So you need time to plan, time to think, and then you need time to communicate the plan. And I think that's what we are coming to now. You need to communicate your plan with maybe potential investors, with your customers, with your staff and your team. And for those of you who don't, then it's about really believing, as Les said, in this plan yourself. So to make it as realistic as possible, and I think that's, it's a pity that we don't have one-on-one, because how we end is normally the pitch. And that for me is the best part of it. So this evening we have through AuthJet and staff-wise, we have an awards evening called Shining Light. And what we're doing is we're looking at all the people in the community who have managed to transform their businesses. And we've got a top 10. And one of the judges, I still don't know who's going to be the final winner. We've got our scores to date. But what we're doing tonight is we're throwing it out to the audience, to the viewers, to the community, and we're asking them to give the final vote. So we have our scores, and everyone's going to be given a 2-minute opportunity to present. So you never know when you're given this opportunity to present. So I think you always need to be ready. That's why you need to be very, very, very focused on these areas. So I think, yeah, your business plan, as I say, it needs to be realistic. A lot of people, and I have always in business, with my business plan, if I'm presenting to shareholders or to boards or to potential large corporate customers or even small customers. And I always like to start with the financials, because otherwise at the end you get very tongue-tied. So a lot of people like to start with the financials and a lot of people like to end with the financials. But you cannot, when you're pitching, you cannot put your financials in the middle. You can never do that. The financial part of it, your numbers, are either in the beginning or the end. And why is that? Because you're going to have a diverse group of people listening to you, and some of them are only interested in the money. So I think, you know, to answer questions that may come up, how do you know when to put your financial position at the beginning or the end? I think you need to really, really understand who your audience is and what they're looking for. So in my case, it was mainly shareholders, stakeholders, investors, the media, and the like. So the financials were always up front. But if you're doing a sales pitch, and you're not going to expose your customer to your profitability, but you're certainly going to expose them to some sort of numbers, because at the end of the day, they're buying your product, but they're buying it and there's some sort of financial implication. So either at the beginning or at the end. So and the other thing, you always need to understand that how you present yourself also changes from pitch to pitch. If you're in a room with a whole lot of CAs, obviously it'll be around numbers. If you're in a room with a whole lot of marketing people, it's very much on the creative concept. So really it's important to understand who your audience is. So I'm going to move straight on to the financial aspect and what it is that you need to prepare. Now, in your master plan worksheets that were sent out, in there's a financial performance section, but I have spoken to Les and I actually don't agree with this in terms of how I see it. I actually see it quite differently. It's not about your operating costs and your total revenue, not at all. The first thing that in terms of your financial performance, if you remember when we spoke on the financial goals, the very first thing that you need to understand is volume. What is your capacity? So if it's your time, so I think Di and I think Kirti, yours is really about your time, isn't it? So how many possible hours are there in your day to give of yourself? So that's your volume. So that's your unit, that's your volume. If it's your creative, then it's, how many creatives, how many manpower hours there are. If you're selling a product, then it's how many units you're going to sell and what is your price of your unit. So I keep saying this, and I don't want to sound like a stuck record, but really, guys, if you don't understand your volume and your price, then you're never going to understand your revenue, because your revenue has to be unpacked in terms of how much time do I have available, or how many products do I have available, how many products can I produce or manufacture or sell, versus what you're going to sell it at. And I think we all know the price of our product or the price of our time per hour. And I think that's incredibly important, because that is the first thing that you need to plan is your revenue. And revenue, as I say, is made up of those two aspects. So understand your revenue, and then your cost of sales. How much does it, what is the cost of actually making your widget, digit, whatever it is that you make, or what is the cost of, the production costs of whatever you're producing. So that brings you to your gross profit, and it's really important. Investors want to know what your gross profit is, because those are things that are really fixed. You know, they can't, sure, they can say up your volume, up your price, lower your volume. In fact, in business, there's only three things if you want to change your business. If you want to make more money, or if you're battling, or if times are uncertain, or if you're in challenging times, there's only three things. And those three things are: manage your costs and your expenses, increase your price, and increase your volume. Manage your costs, increase your price, increase your volume. So if you want to like grow your business, those are the only three things that you can do organically, not in terms of acquisitions and all the rest, organically, to grow your business. So I think it's very important that everybody knows what their gross profit margins are. It is something that investors will ask you if you're pitching to investors, or if you're pitching to potential partners that you want to align with. And then less your expenses, and be very careful with your expenses, what you put below your gross profit line, because some expenses are more tax deductible than others. So try and line item everyone so that you can see them. So less your expenses, which brings you to your net profit before obviously interest and depreciation. So it's very important that you understand your revenue, what it's made of, less your cost of sales, which gives you your gross profit, less your expenses, which takes you to your net profit. Now, if you're selling to potential customers, you need to know your pricing. And, you know, everyone talks about transparent pricing today. You know, everybody has to be transparent in terms of your pricing. You can't just lump on an extra 200,000. So whether you're selling your time or whatever, people do like to know the breakdown of that. So it's really important that if you're pitching, let's say, Di, I'm just looking who else is on there, Ayanda, your fees, Benita, your fees, that you actually can break it up. Because, you know, if you say to somebody, I'm going to charge you 1,000 Rand an hour, you know, they better know what and how that's broken up. So, and I'll relate it to two things that I'm involved with. So the one is my business before, which was vehicle rental and vehicle sales. So vehicle rental, we would break it up with what is the cost of the vehicle, the depreciation, the maintenance, running costs, etc., etc., etc. So we literally have a sort of a naked cost, and you know, then we add up on that staff costs, etc. But if we were pitching to large, you know, doing a massive tender, you need to break that up and really understand that. And you know, your price, if you're selling a product, you know, people need to know more or less what the margin is. People actually do ask you what your margin is. And I think today most bigger companies, sure, they squeeze you in terms of your margin, but it's really important that they know what your margin is. So I think you really need to understand your numbers before you go into any pitch. But it's really important that if your business plan is just for yourself, if it's just your own personal business plan that you're going to share with yourself and you're going to share with your team, then make sure your financials come in the front. If it's, you know, your customers, your price, and that can come at the end. And why do I say that? Because if it's with customers and you start off with the price, you're never going to get to the value that you offer to them. They're going to focus on the price, but you want to tell them about this great technology that you've invented, or this great, like why you are different, what your key unique benefits are, etc. And you're never going to get to that if you open up with the price. So I don't know, I've spoken a lot. I don't know if you can just thumbs up, thumbs down if I've made any sense. So Cassidy, nice to see you. And so for you, you know what your product costs, you know what how much your labor costs are, your rent, etc., etc. So what is the minimum price that you would sell a set of lashes for? You need to know what is your minimum costing. So to add up to understand what your gross profit margin is. And, don't be shy to say, your gross profit margin is 60, 70, 80%, because your expenses may be very high. You might have high rental costs because you're on street front, etc., etc. So let's move in quickly to the pitch. And I know that we are juggling around a little bit, but the pitch is incredibly important. And when you're pitching, just make sure that you prepare yourself very well for the pitch, that you go in knowing exactly what you want to do. And I always say, so tonight we've got a pitch that's 2 minutes. On Sunday, I'm judging the Jewish Achievers Awards, and that's obviously they were given about a half an hour each interview via Zoom. So understand how long you've got when you're pitching. But a pitch, when you're pitching, your pitch about your business and that, I don't think should ever be more than 7 to 10 minutes. If you're pitching and if you're doing an elevator pitch, which you're just doing a quick pitch, I think it's 2 to 3 minutes. Les, am I right? Les, are you there? An elevator pitch about 2 to 3 minutes max. Do you agree, Les?
100%. So it just depends on the environment. As you say, tonight you've got 2 minutes, which is really, really short. So you've got to be
2 minutes is very hectic, very, very, very hectic. But don't forget they've already had an opportunity to pitch to us, the panel of judges. So, so your pitch, you need to be clear. You need to understand your audience. So the tone of your voice is very much in line with the audience that you're presenting to. And try and know as much about the audience as possible. And in fact, so there's one competition that I'm actually judging on, and it was amazing. I looked at who linked into me on LinkedIn, and out of like 12 of the candidates, 4 of them actually connected to me via LinkedIn. And I think that's amazing, because you need to use LinkedIn, Facebook, social media to find out about the customers, who they are, what they like, what their qualification is, because that gives you a good indication of where they will be heading. And then when you go into the pitch, and I always say, if you're pitching, knowing your audience means also, dressing for success. If it's, a high-powered pitch, then make sure you are dressed accordingly. You don't ever want to intimidate your audience. So if it's a lower sort of level person, so if it's your local landlords and they super casual with their jeans and tackies, don't go in there with your red powerful suit on, because it could be quite intimidating and they could think that you have a lot of money. I'll never forget a situation. We had a guy coming to present to us. It was a program that we were running in terms of getting some of our staff ready for our new system that we were launching, a new computer system. And we had a lot of people pitching, and there was one guy who pitched, and I went outside my office and I heard my PA like saying, no, there's parking here, there's parking there. And anyway, so I said to her, what was that? So she, no, the guy that's coming to see you just now, he's very worried about the parking, and he wants a really nice parking because he's got a Maserati, and he wants to know that it's safe and the parking bays are big. So can you imagine what went through my mind at that stage? Little did he think that my PA would have told me that. But to come and pitch and to worry about your Maserati, listen, if you are so hungry for business, you'll damn well walk, you'll catch the My City bus, So already my back was up a little bit, and I was thinking, he's got a Maserati. So like, how much of that will be padded? And it's just things like that do actually create an attitude and do create a preconceived idea before the person has even entered, the room. And then the pitch must be very clear, a lot of clarity. And I always say, if you are pitching, if you can give some examples, either to use your laptop for a few minutes, don't do PowerPoint overload. People are so death by PowerPoint, like just don't do that. But if there's 2 or 3 things, and whatever business you're in, if you can show like Die For You, some of the clips of the work that you've done, but very briefly, people don't want to see these long reels of work because they just get bored, but just little snippets. I always say, take something with you. Really take something with you, because this is the time for show and tell, this is the time to show and put your best foot forward. So one of the businesses a couple of weeks ago, they were pitching, and we had a lot of businesses pitching, and a lot of businesses have transformed from whatever they were doing. I mean, everyone's manufacturing masks or selling masks at the moment. And it's so funny, we had about 4 different people selling masks. And out of the 4, 3 of them all bought a sample of their masks. And the one didn't bring a sample of their mask. And it was just so sad because like we didn't know, there was no sample, there was no picture, there was nothing. And I was just thinking, if they were pitching to Pick and Pay or Dis-Chem and they didn't go in with their mask, like what a shame, So I think make sure that you prepare yourself. In Shark Tank, what we did before, we would give all the people coming onto the show, all the entrepreneurs, an opportunity to tell us what props they needed. If they needed a stand, if they needed a tall table, if they needed a rack, if they needed lighting or whatever. And also find out from whoever you pitch to if they've got the right equipment, if you're going to do a PowerPoint, do they have a screen, etc., etc. Guys, I know these are very simple things, but I can assure you that if you're not prepared, I mean, we did a pitch a few years ago, massive, multi-million. It was about a 30 million rand pitch for a massive project that we were doing. And we actually bought one laptop with us, and we had the pitch on the laptop, and this person couldn't connect their laptop to the Wi-Fi, and they had a problem. So I always maintain, if they, take a stick, take another computer with you, take whatever, but go prepared, and always look for things, what could go wrong, and make sure that you've got things to back it up. And then in ending your pitch, I think you need to, you need to, at the end, involve your audience, your customers, your investors, maybe ask them a couple of questions before they start asking you questions, because that's one way of engaging with them. And also it's one way of giving you more confidence. You asking them. Otherwise, when they start bombarding you with questions, if your confidence is not at a higher level, you may actually find it a bit problematic. So so that's a little bit about pitching. I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to add in terms of pitching, but Les, there is a thing that I wrote that's in the book that Sandy took from my pitching model. So what I used is the pitching that I've actually used in all the judging that I do, that I give them the same things. So obviously focus, I'm just going to read them to you, but we can actually share them. I'm sure Simone can actually send this. So in terms of the pitch, obviously focus on the pitch. Don't make small talk when you're starting the pitch. Just focus on the pitch, because there's nothing worse than somebody coming in to pitch to you, you're busy, and then they start saying, what about this weather in Cape Town? Isn't it weird? So focus on the pitch, then tell your story in the most authentic way that you can. Right at the end, obviously, you're going to tell them all about your price, etc., etc. And then also what you need to do is make it very clear before you finish your pitch precisely what you want. So if it's an investor, you need to say, look, I'm looking for R1 million investment. If it's a customer, you're going to say, look, we're pitching for this piece of work and we believe that we can do X, Y, Z. So you need to actually tell them why you're there and exactly what you want. So that's just very briefly around the pitch. And Simone, I'm sure you can actually send them this thing that's in the book on the pitch. And then what you need to also plan for, which is really, really, really important, is the ability to be able to maturely handle rejection. Because out of every 20 pitches, only 2, you can pitch 20 times, and only 2 of those will you actually get an investment. I mean, you may be lucky, but you sometimes need to pitch 10, 20 times before you actually get a yes. So I think it's really, but you need to keep going back. So it's really important, A, you know how to handle rejection, and you don't become defensive, because there's nothing worse. You know, maybe at the end of the pitch, people say, look, thank you very much. It's really great, but, you know, we're not ready for this, or we don't want to go with you. You know, don't start then defending it. So be ready for rejection. Always be ready for rejection. And how do you handle and overcome that rejection in the most mature fashion? Because you want to leave the door open. And then you always need a strategy to come back. And as an entrepreneur, you need to build a very thick layer of skin, because you're going to have to learn to face a lot of rejection. And that rejection is the most powerful thing. And when you do not gain business, or if you lose a customer, you don't gain business, you don't get an investor, it's really important that you go back and in the nicest possible way, you ask them for the exact reason, so that you can understand, in order to improve your performance in the future, and in order for you to really understand what you need to do, what you need to change, you know, what is the reason? So even Cassidy, if you had to lose a customer and you haven't seen a customer for a very long time, Curti or any of you, I'm just looking who's there, Benita, you know, it's really important that you communicate with those customers. We haven't seen you for a long time. Is there anything like that I need to know? I think it's really important to get that feedback, because constructive criticism or constructive feedback is really good in helping you pave your way for your future and improve. Because, you know, if we're not in a business for continual and perpetual improvement, we need to be improving all the time. And if you don't know what it is that you need to better yourself, or you need to work on, then you could be doing, you know, making the same mistake over and over again. So that's my bit, and I really do apologize. I know there are 1 or 2 questions. I'd like to know maybe if there are suggestions, maybe just to pop them in the chat box, and I'll handle them before I need to go. Suggestion on how you price your product. So maybe, Curti, if you can just come online and just explain to me what it is that you want to price, your time, just explain to me what it is that you would like to price, maybe just to give me a little bit of understanding, and then Les and I can answer the question.
Yes, I do find it quite challenging in the space to actually determine where my price should sit. So for both products, so for me, actually doing specific workshops or masterclasses, and then I have an online suite of products. So what I've done is I've looked at what the average price is given the industry, right? So how are other people pricing the product? But I'm not sure that's the right system in terms of determining where I should be pricing it. And so what has happened also is that I have either under or overpriced product, but depending on customer feedback. So that's why I'm not sure whether it's just customer feedback and how to actually determine that right.
So I think there are 2 things
actually
there. I think the value of what you're offering, if you are really differentiating yourself, which I do believe, and I've read all the stuff that you've sent to Les and I really do believe that you can differentiate yourself. What you're doing is uniquely different, I think, to a lot of your competitors.
Right.
So don't be afraid to overprice.
Okay.
So I would say 2 things. 1, the value of what you're offering. You know, if you're pretty much the same and vanilla, like it's a vanilla type of product, and you're all exactly the same, then yeah, definitely look at your competitors. But if you are going to add more value, then don't be afraid to charge, you know, don't be afraid. So in business, and I just tell you, sitting on the other side of people wanting investment, sitting on the other side of people trying to sell me a product, sitting on the other side, I don't always, in fact, I very seldom take the cheapest because I always question it. I very seldom take the cheapest. Les, I'm sure you probably feel exactly the same. I like to look at, who's offering the greatest value, where I'm going to get, sustainability, long-term relationships, where I believe that this person or product or whatever it is really going to add something to my life, to my business, and make a difference. Those things are important. But that's the other thing. In your pitch, you need to find something that your competitors, so your pitch, Curti, I should imagine, is very much online and emails and communication, direct communication. In your pitch, you really need to make sure that you highlight what you do that no one else is doing. What is your unique sales proposition? What's unique about you? And don't be afraid to do that. And don't be afraid to ask, for the price. I mean, Les and I have had this discussion numerous times, like we say, should we do this? Should we charge that? Shouldn't we charge that? And I think if your heart and soul is in it and you believe that that's what you're going to offer, and, just sitting around here, I mean, Cassidy's operation, I go to, I mean, the environment that they've created for me is my tonic. For me is my, Cassidy, are you there? You can actually comment on that. When I go into your cartel, that is my energy boost for 2 weeks. I mean, you create something to me that I go out there, like I walk in happy, you've created this really great space that, there's not a lot of people like looking you up and down. It's just a beautiful space. You make people feel welcome. And for me, that's your unique positioning, that you really have this environment that is conducive to feeling relaxed, energized. I mean, I always leave there smiling and laughing. So I don't know if that answers your question, Curti.
No, it does actually. It has shown me the gap in terms of communicating the value that I'm offering. And I think that is something I need to work on a little bit more.
So maybe if there's anyone else that wants to, just before I go off, anyone else that wants to share like a pitch, like a good or a bad pitch experience that they've had. Anyone would like to share that? Because I think we all learn from each other. Benita, do you ever have to, do you pitch a lot? I mean, obviously now in COVID, it's a little more difficult, but.
So, I haven't, I haven't really started putting myself out there. At this point, I'm still offering my services pro bono to members of the community. But what I have been doing, I've really just been, I actually contacted someone in our community who's about to have a baby, who I'd met very briefly a long time ago. And I called her and I told her, this is what I'm doing. I know you're expecting a baby. This is the value that I can add, and how, I would love to help you. And I was really, really nervous. It took a lot for me to put myself out there. But I think I just, as authentically as possible, as you said, just explained, this is who I am. This is what I have to offer. You would be doing me a great favor by giving me this opportunity to work with you. And then I kind of held my breath and didn't actually hear back from her for a couple of days. And then she actually left a message for me saying, absolutely, best thing ever, thank you. And we'll be working together at the beginning of next year. So I think, I don't know, I intuitively kind of work through these processes. But yeah, like you said, it's very much about who you're speaking to and the way that you put yourself forward. And I think with me, it's very much about, I'm selling myself. So it takes a lot of confidence to put yourself out there, which is a big challenge for me. But
well, thanks for sharing that. And I think it was a very beautiful way that you explained a little bit of your vulnerability, that you were nervous. I think nerves are very, very good. And the pitches that I've seen that have failed are the ones that come in all cocky and arrogant and confident. Nerves are good. I mean, Les and I did a overseas Zoom webinar the other day. And Les says, like, I said, Les, I've got like butterflies. She says, what, Dawn, you've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years. You've been on TV. I said, Les, the day that my butterflies go are the day that I actually must get out of this. I've always got butterflies. So I've got two big things happening today. And I actually sitting here and I've got these little butterflies like in my stomach. So that just makes us real. And I think, Benita, use who you are. Like, you know, that's your uniqueness. Your beautiful, authentic self is your uniqueness. So guys, Les, would you excuse me? Guys, will you excuse me? I've got butterflies that I
Good
need
luck.
to sort out. Guys, is this our last session?
Yes.
This is our last session, Dawn. It's very sad.
Well, listen, guys, I've loved working with you, and I'm really sad. Maybe we can, Les, maybe for the holidays, just have a 5-minute hookup, maybe at 5 o'clock one afternoon when the kids are on holiday, and we can have a glass of orange juice or tea or wine or champagne or whatever floats your boat. Guys, thank
like
you.
a
Thanks,
plan.
Les.
Lots
Thanks,
of luck,
everybody.
Dawn, for today.
Thank you. And please, if any of you, please watch Shining Light and Benita.
Oh, no, I have. I've registered. Yeah, I'm going to.
Oh, good. Good.
I
Please
just
watch
pray,
it.
I'm finished what I have to do.
Very inspirational.
Yeah.
And I promise you now, these people are so nervous, and they're just such, I learn every day from people, and particularly small businesses, because they're doing it differently and they've had to look for different ways of doing it. So please watch if you can do.
Dawn, when
Alexander,
she,
nice to see you. Hi, how are you? Good. Nice to see you all. Wishing you all lots and lots. Start the year strong, and yeah, let's try and get together before the end of the year, even if it's for 5 minutes. We'll get Simone to organize that. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank
See
you.
later,
Bye.
Dawn. Bye. Okay, yay. I hope you guys got a lot out of that. I mean, you couldn't really be talking to anybody better for your pitch and for the financials. But I just want to, in our book, we actually sort of codified, and I just want to finish off the section where we sort of codified perfecting the system, as it were, perfecting your pitch. And the 4 steps that we said in our book was, give your audience a reason to care. So the first thing is, why should they care? You know, what is the need, or what is the problem that you're trying to solve? So what is their reason? Give them a reason to care. Then give them a reason to believe. So that's where your credentials come in. And that's where, you know, I've been doing this before. I'm an engineer, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a, you know, why should they actually, you know, believe? So what are your credentials that makes them believe? Then tell them what they need to know. So what can you do for them? And then tell them what they need to do. So that is just a very simple 4-step sort of codifying the system, as it were. Give them a reason to care, give them a reason to believe in you or your product, tell them what they need to know. So what is your proposal? And then tell them what they need to do, which is, you know, how much money do you want, or set up the next meeting, or whatever. What is the next step that you want them to do? Invest in your business, how much money you're looking for, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, just make sure that, you know, you try and cover those 4 steps, and that just gives it a little bit of a simpler way of looking at how to actually go about it. Okay, so I'm actually going to go quickly back to our 7 stages, and I'm going to skip out obviously number 4 and number 7, but I think really what today is all about is bringing it all together. And, you know, in the beginning, we set a vision and a mission for ourselves. And now how are we going to take action on that? How are we going to make sure that we can take action on our vision and take action on our mission? So have all of you managed to get quite a clear vision statements for yourselves? Was that quite clear to you, or are you still struggling with that sort of succinct message? I'm actually going to start as you appear on my screen. Di, have you got a sort of a succinct vision for your business,
Yes.
for yourself? Okay,
The
you happy with
vision and mission, absolutely. But I must say, I have struggled when I look through the rest of this document. There's a lot I couldn't fill in.
Okay.
That's just me
Okay.
in
Well,
my
we can-
scenario. But vision and mission, absolutely. And in
You're
fact, I've
clear.
included it in my pictures
Oh,
or my proposals.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then who's next one? Can I see? Ayanda, are you clear on your vision and mission?
Yes, yes, yeah. We agree. And what I did, my business plan, I was down, and then we look, we put that a clip again of session of our first session, and we discuss our vision. So I that no, we're on the right track for now, but there's hiccup here and but yeah, we are still in the track.
Okay, brilliant. Lesego, you happy?
Yes, no, I'm certainly happy. Thank you very much. Thank
good.
you for the help.
Kurtie, are you clear?
Yeah, also happy. I think
You're
also
happy.
I was doing it a couple of years ago and hadn't done it for some time. And so redoing it now made me understand, I understand what I want to do better. So it was just good for me to do again, actually. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And then Benita? No, you're on mute, I think.
Sorry, I think, yeah, I'm clear on my vision. I think for me, I think I really just need to get started and just dive in and, yeah, get moving.
And take action. Exactly.
Take action, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, I think, we've got to get rid of those limiting beliefs. We've got to believe in ourselves. We've got to back ourselves, and absolutely, we've got to take action. And then who have I left out? Yes. Are you clear?
Hi, Cassidy, whichever.
Hi, Cassidy. Yes, hi, Cassidy.
So we would definitely benefit from having a crystal clear vision and mission written out. But so I'm only one part of it. We really we're so crazy busy and with a million things going on. We all need to just set a time to actually go through and get it crystal clear with all of us.
Yeah.
So that's where we're holding.
It's a lovely thing to do as a team, actually, Cassidy.
Yeah.
And, to find that, and I mean, when we did ours as a team and to sort of, so ours is to be a global agency inspiring connections. So, and everybody understands, so every single word becomes important in that vision statement, like that word global, like we really want to, we want to be bigger and to be inspiring, and, we want to be inspiring connections. And so, you've got to think of every single word that is important. And sometimes you literally start off with a list of words and, what are the ones that sort of resonate with you? And then it's crafting that into a sentence. It's got to be short, and it's got to be quickly roll off the tongue. And it's got to just be something that everybody knows, that you've got a poster in your office. And that's our vision, to be, the best, or the most famous, or whatever it is, or whatever your vision is, to deliver incredible experience to whatever. I mean, Kurtie, yours could be to help people with dementia live with dignity, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I'm just sort of saying words, but what is that big thing, that big, hairy, audacious vision that you can really, something that you really want to get out of bed for, something that drives you. So yeah, Cassidy, I encourage you to do it as a team. And you can even, you can even cut out things in a magazine, do a vision board, and things that resonate with you, and really like try and drill down to the essence of your brand and who you are and where you want to go. Think about that. And yeah, one of the exercises that also helped us was think about a brand that you feel that you're similar to, or that you feel, and look at the qualities of that brand. So we looked at like companies like Zara or Coco Chanel, and we tried to sort of, what were those qualities, and what made those iconic brands amazing, and that's where we got some of our inspiration from. So look at other brands and see what has inspired you about them and what resonates with you, and see if you can sort of weave that into to your own brand. Okay, so number one is really about taking action. You've learned all these things now. Now you've got to set your vision. Your mission is just what you do, but it's in a clear, concise sentence, and then make sure you are taking action on that. Okay, your number two is getting your message to the market. So that is all your marketing plan. And Di, you said here now you're struggling to fill in the rest of the sheet, but what are your channels? What are the various ways you're getting your message to the market? Is it, through an email database? Is it through your social media? Is it through the newspaper and PR? What are those channels that you're going to use? Is it a digital strategy? Is it, using mentors and people that, can help you get your message to the market? What are those things? Have you identified your top clients, that you can now say, I want Discovery and Diskim and Alan Gray and whoever, or who are your clients and how are you talking to them? I mean, if you're in the beauty industry, are you going into the beauty magazines or getting on blogs, or are you blogging, or are you tagging other people on your social media? So how are you getting your message to the market? Guys, you must remember that also PR is a very cheap and easy way, especially if you've got a story to tell, or especially if you've done something or are giving back, or gender-based violence is a massive thing at the moment. So maybe a percentage of your turnover, or what are the things that you're doing that you can get a message that this company is supporting this. People want content. The journalists and the PR agencies and the stories and the TV channels, all of those kind of things, they want content. So, what are you doing that's amazing that you can then put out to those journalists, to the PR industry, and to make sure that you are getting your message out there? So think about all those channels that we discussed in the marketing segment, and make sure that you pick your sort of top 2 or 3. We always make sure that we run 3 campaigns at any given time, which one is working the most, and then dial that one up. So have a look and see what works the best for you, and do it as a trial and error. If Facebook is your platform, trial that out. See if you're going to get the community following. Make sure that you're posting, 3 or 4 times a week, but make sure that you are definitely getting your message to the market. Make friends with the journalists and the PR agencies or the companies that are in, if you're in beauty and fashion, or in babies, or in, my Cape Town child, or whatever the case may be. Make sure that you're talking to those editors and those people that are out there, so that they can help you. They're also looking for content, so don't be shy. I think that sometimes with us entrepreneurs, we just, we feel too shy. They're also people like us, guys. I promise you, so many times I remind myself they are just exactly the same. They've also, and so don't be nervous. And that, that's our limiting beliefs about, oh, I'm too scared of rejection and I'm scared of failure. And we don't put ourselves out there. This is where you've just got to take action, believe in yourself, and just do it. And if you get that no, then that's fine. Then, you're closer to a yes. Somebody's going to want to talk to you. I promise you. Just have your pitch right, and make sure that you've got a problem that that they are looking to solve. Make sure you're talking to the right people, but I promise you can be successful. Your sales process, we have obviously spoken at length about this. So what are you doing to ensure, and I suppose, this is it making those phone calls? Is it, sending those emails? What is your best way of making that sales pitch? I mean, Cassidy, for you, it's obviously when they're right there. I mean, whenever I go to the hairdresser, whenever I go to my beautician, they always try and sell me something, and I always love it. And they've just washed you in the special thing, or they've just given you a new face cream, or whatever the case may be. And I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. And 99% of the time, whatever they've used on me, I normally buy. So that's like a great hot buying moment. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've trained all your staff to do that, but that is such a good buying moment. When they're there, they're relaxed, they're happy, you've just worked on them, and yeah, great buying moments. So make sure that you are prepared for those buying moments. Yeah, I mean, just Kirti reached out to me this week just to help her also position her business. So she's done a win-win for us. she's coming into my company just to offer a calm workshop, and we're going to give her feedback on that. So there's a great win-win situation that you guys need to look for. And I mean, she sent me a beautiful email. I sent it to our CEO. She responded immediately and said, wow, this looks amazing. So well done, Kirti. And I mean, honestly, hats off to you. So that is such a, you know, we'll give you the feedback that you're looking for on and I think that, you know, that's a great way. And then we can help promote you as well. And I mean, you know, when I've experienced your product, then I can promote it to my EO friends and to our network. And that's also a great way of doing it. Reach out to somebody. Also, you, Benita, once you've done this once or twice, you know, look for referrals, look for references. Is there anybody else that you know that could do that could benefit from my services? So don't be shy to ask for those referrals. And then obviously financial performance. Dawn has gone through this at length. I'm sure you all understand this. Know your numbers, guys. Know what makes you money. Those levers that she spoke about, really, you've got to understand. Understand what your expenses are and understand what makes you money. Building an effective team. We covered this in leadership. So, you know, I mean, when it comes to hiring, make sure that you are doing the correct personality tests. You know, these can be expensive mistakes that you make. You know, your gut feel is one thing, but when it comes to hiring people that you've never worked with before or that you don't know, I highly recommend that you do a test or something like that. Also, when you're wanting to hire somebody, remember that it's an investment, not a cost, and that you need that person to be taking things away from you that you don't want to do so that you can focus on what you're really good at. And so you can help build your business. So if you're not good at sales or you're not good at marketing, looking at hiring somebody to do that. But there are also ways of doing it, you know, offering commission based on performance. People are, you know, people are a little bit more flexible these days, guys. Over 3 million people have lost their jobs. So you can negotiate salaries, you can base it on performance. You know, people need to be performing, they need to be hungry, they need to be, you know, really being that investment for you. So if you're paying them 20,000 Rand a month, you want to make sure that they're earning 60,000 Rand for you, because they need to, there's a model, it's a 3x model. Whatever you pay somebody, you want them to turn over 3 times what you pay them. So your first 20,000, let's say it's 20,000 Rand that you pay them, your first 20,000 is their salary, the next 20,000 is the expenses, so the desk space, the Wi-Fi, the telephone, whatever else that you pay for them, and the third 20 is your profit. So make sure that you work on a 2.5, a consulting model is a 3x, so it's 3 times your salary. You can do up to 2.5x, but I highly recommend that you try for a 3x model, and they can start earning commission at that point. So you need to, you know, they need to help you grow the business, and building an effective team is absolutely an investment. It shouldn't be a cost. So think about that when you are hiring people. And then I think, yeah, I mean, just to kind of end off, because we have covered the pitching, you really do need to deliver to expectations. And this goes to building trust. You know, what is the one thing that you want people to be doing with your business? You want them to be coming back, and you want repeat business. I mean, I know in some of your businesses, and Benita, you especially, I mean, unless they have sort of lots of children, but you know, you still need to deliver to expectations, because that's where you can also get your referrals. So how do you build trust within your brand, within your personal, within your business, so that people come back for more? Because that's what gives that sort of, you know, circular, more business. You do the right thing, you deliver to expectations, and that means more business. I remember a client of mine, early in my early days, Alan Gray, when we first landed the Alan Gray account, they tested us with a few projects, and we nailed it, and we got it right. And I remember her words to me were, those who do well should get rewarded and get more business. And today they're still a client of ours, doing you know, a massive turnover. So just make sure that you deliver to your promises, and that's how you will also, you know, build your own credibility, build your brand, and build your business. Okay, so what I do want to just end off with, let me just see what the time is. Absolutely, gosh, I can't believe we're actually ending at 9:30. I do want to get some feedback, just so that you do know we offer a golden circle from this group. If you want to join our mentorship golden circle program, it's a 6-month program with both Dawn and I. We only take 6 people. We've actually gifted one spot to somebody, the person who wins tonight. So we have got one spot. So we have got 5 spots available, and there are a couple of people in the wings that we know are also interested. But what that means is we do a 90-minute session every second. This one will be probably every second Wednesday of the month for 6 months. It's a 5,000 Rand investment. It's 5,000 Rand it's not per month for 6 months. It's 5,000 Rand for 6 months. It's not 30,000 Rand. It's 5,000 Rand for the 6 months. And that's 1.5 hours with Dawn and I on a one-on-one, 1-on-6. So it's group mentorship, but you get a lot of more time with us. And that's what we kind of offering. We will start this probably in the middle of January. This one was done from the last one. So we already have a golden circle going from our last group, but we are offering a new one starting probably in January. Those of you who are interested, please let myself or Lisa know, and we can then sign you up for the new year. We also do offer payment plans. So if this is something that you are interested in, we do offer payment plans as well. And then just to end, no successful person, whether they're athletes, billionaires, or geniuses, ever achieves success on their own. Surround yourself with people who support and believe in you and your dreams, because that pot of gold does exist within you. So, wow, that is pretty much that, guys. And I would love to kind of take questions. We're going to do a poll. I've asked Lisa to join us again. There she is. And we're going to do a poll. But before we go on to the poll, Lisa, are there any questions or comments that anybody would like to ask at this time?
I think just to thank you for an excellent 6 weeks. I'm actually sad that it's going to be over. I kind of like the group, even though we didn't speak so much. I have one question regarding how to contact the right people. In terms of, let's say, pharmaceutical company, I have a product and it's different industries, but I'm struggling to find how to actually contact the right people.
The right companies or the right people in the companies?
The right people in the companies.
Decision makers.
So you have to understand if it's the marketing team, or if it's the finance team, or if it's the what team it is. So I think that really just will go down to, a little bit of research. You need to possibly contact the company, make a phone call and ask the receptionist, this is the product that I'm selling, who's the best person that I can speak to, or go onto their websites and see who's in charge of that sort of sector. Especially with pharmaceutical companies, they have brand managers and they have people that are in charge of certain, elements of the business. So try and find out who those right people are. Right. Honestly, I think making a phone call is probably your best bet.
Okay. And just a comment, I am a neurologist and I can tell you an entrepreneurship journey is much harder in lots of ways.
Absolutely. But yeah, Kirti, I mean, you've got the perfect business to also surround yourself with the right people, because you're so specialized and you've got such an incredible background and skill and gift. So you really want other people to be taking off your hands, those kind of things, so that you can do what you do best. And, you've got to invest in those people so that you can shine and fly. So good luck. I'm sure you'll get it right. Yes, Lesejo, you have raised your hand. Lesejo? I think she's frozen. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes, Ayanda. Hi.
No. I just want to say thank you, man, for the session. It was a great opportunity for me and my business partner, as she's young at the age of 22 and become a CEO of a huge company that we are starting. So for us, we learn a lot from guys. Just want to say thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to have a one-on-one like meeting in person with Dawn. Hopefully, maybe next year. I don't know. Only God knows. Just want to
Okay,
say
good.
thank you, Liz.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on our program and being so engaging. Anybody else before we just want to, we love to get feedback because we also want to improve and we want to make sure that we are delivering value to all of you. So Lisa's just going to run a little poll. Lesejo, are you back online? There you are. Okay, you're on mute. Unmute. You're on.
Is it all right now?
Yeah, there we go.
Is it all right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So mine really is just to say thank you so much for the opportunity. It has been a rather enlightening training course. I have had the opportunity to be part of a couple of, training courses that have to do with business, and haven't had studied business as well. So, but what I have found with this one is that it's more interactive. Maybe for one, just being a smaller group, it has helped. And also, one can easily ask questions and you get feedback on the spot. And I feel like it's more of this type of training is more of, you have, coaching, mentorship, and training all in one, which makes it so much more beautiful, and it's informal. I found it to be a rather safe space, to be a part of. So thank you so much. Well done, Leslie and Dawn, for the job that you're doing. I'm happy to have been part of this opportunity.
Great. Thank you, Lesejo. That's very lovely. I appreciate that very much. Okay, over to you, Lisa, and then we're literally going to sign off.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Les. Let me just stop the recording.